I want to give some context. I was in a very bad mood going out to this service call that you guys are about to see, okay? But I had to bite my tongue, as frustrated as I was. I'm going to read you guys the work order, and I'll pop it up on the screen right now too. The customer sent a work order, and this is their exact wording. Our walk-in freezer is temping at 50 degrees. We were having an issue with it holding temp for the last 2 days, but I hoped that with keeping the door shut, it would go down. The lowest temp it had been in the last 2 days is 32 degrees, so a lot of product isn't staying frozen. All right, so they sent me that, and they had I don't even know what you want to call it. Like, when I walked on site and I talked to the manager, before I even looked at it, I said, look, if your walk-in freezer goes above, like 10 degrees above the normal temperature for more than an hour, it's broken and it's not going to fix itself. Call me right away. What frustrated me about this one was they called me, it was like a Saturday, and it was an emergency. They were like, you have to stop what you're doing, you know, and I had to stop my dinner plans and everything to go out there to get this work order, and I'm driving there really frustrated. And guys, I'm human, okay? You know, but I had to bite my tongue when I walked in the door. I vented, you know, a little bit of frustration, just kind of like, okay, it kind of sucks, you know, that I'm here, but it is what it is, you know. Another thing to remember, and of course, I was really upset at first, and you know, when I walked in the store, I was still polite because I don't want to scare away management and stuff. And I just, you know, tried to coach them and work their way through this, okay? Because it was just frustrating to have to do that, but it is what it is. If I don't do this call, another person will, you know? And I want my company to be the company doing all this work. So while it is frustrating, you know, just take a breath, relax, get it fixed, and move on. Okay, let's go ahead and get on with the video. This video is brought to you by Sporlan. Quality, integrity, and tradition. Okie dokie, so we got a walk-in freezer evaporator that's not working. Flip it around, and it's all frozen up. So I just had the customer move all their product. We're gonna get this guy defrosted. I need to start on the roof and get the equipment shut off and everything, so. All right, this is my walk-in freezer condenser up here. The condenser also looks dirty. All of them look dirty. I made a video here recently. Well, recent. Everything's blending into the last year and a half, so. This guy right here, we're gonna open this up and access the defrost clock and throw it in defrost from up here. And then I'll go down there and test to make sure all the heaters are working while it's frozen up. And then I can turn it off at the breaker down there when I need to defrost it. All right, this is my defrost clock right here. And let's see, 1 and N should give me 208 volts. Correct, 204. That tells me my defrost clock has power. And then we're gonna go to 3 and N. We should have 0 volts. We're getting 10. That's kind of weird. Some kind of backfeed or something. And then we're going to go to 4 and N. 4 and N is our refrigeration circuit. We have 204 volts. 3 and N is our heater circuit. So I was just kind of looking at normal operation, and we're good. So we're going to go ahead and click it into a really long defrost. There we go. Now we're in a super long defrost. It should be pumping down. Now they have an interlock contactor right here, and what this does is that will not let the defrost clock send power to the heaters if the compressor contactor is still running. So they have that interlock guy to make sure. So that one's engaged. We have 12 amps of current on the heater circuit going downstairs, so that should be divided amongst all the different strip heaters. So the next step is we're going to go down there and investigate to actually make sure each strip heater has current or resistance, or I'm sorry, yeah, current across it, because we do have power energized. And that will kind of help us in our troubleshooting to tell us if it's a defrost related issue. But I'll tell you, the biggest problem with this restaurant is they leave the door open. So we'll investigate the door hinges and make sure everything's working on that too. We have constant problems with them leaving the door open. So, but yeah, we're gonna leave this in defrost and go downstairs. So you can see the self-closing hinges are no longer working on the door. So if they walk away from it, it stays open sometimes. So that's more than likely the cause of it not working. Fun stuff, right? While I was on the roof, I disconnected the X terminal
at the defrost clock so that way it could run and heat for a very long time while I'm disassembling everything. And then when you're disassembling, you want to inspect your evaporator blades very carefully. This one has a stress crack right here and right here. And you can tell it's been hitting something right there. So I don't have a blade with me today. We'll probably put it back on, but we'll definitely be coming back to change blades. And we'll inspect the rest of them as we take them off too. Looks like they just got their delivery like yesterday too, and they just ruined all of their ice cream. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tubs of ice cream here. It's all milkshake material. So I cannot safely get this motor out with it energized because it's all encapsulated in the ice. The other motors, the wires were sitting outside the ice and I was able to just pop them out. So we got those. We're gonna have to go shut off the breaker now, but you know, you always want to visual inspect the unit and see down here, that's a drain line heater that's sagging. It fell out of its hangers. Those do reduce the efficiency of the defrost. It's not the end of the world. I've seen coils work on much worse than that, but that does add some problems. So we need to get over here and check the defrost heaters now. From the looks of it, there is only 2 heaters. There's one embedded in the middle of the coil. This is it, 5 amps, and then there's one down on the bottom of the coil, which I gotta get right there, but I gotta find the wires for it because they're tucked in a weird place. Where's the wires? Ah, there they are right there. So if we go here, 5.5, and then where's the other wire at? Ah, it's tucked back there, man. These things are so difficult to get to. Let's see if I can get on this one. No, it's a pain in the butt. There we go. So the other one's 3 amps. Well, why did I hit 12 amps up there? Am I missing a heater? Only 5 and 3. It's only like 8, 9 at the most when you add the small stuff in there. Huh. I wonder what the dealio is here. Why I was getting 12 amps. Well, anyways, whatever. We know the heaters are working. We're gonna go turn off the breaker. I don't have to go all the way under the roof because I know where the breaker is down in the building. So we'll turn that off, lock it out, and then get this defrosted. So I love my wand as usual. A lot of people ask me. It's from Lowe's. It's made by Orbit. You can still get them there. Just go to Lowe's. Look in the garden section. So this is a walk-in freezer. It has a raised floor. We don't ever want to get water on a raised floor in a walk-in. I mean, you don't want to get water on a floor in a walk-in freezer anyway. So, but raised floors are especially a big deal because when water gets underneath it, it lifts the floor and they have to replace the whole thing. So, we're just defrosting it, and then like the water level's getting high, so I'm gonna wait for it to drain, and then keep rinse, repeat kind of a thing. And it actually wasn't draining, so I always bring this tool in with me that I made, and it has a little plunger on the end. Blew the drain out real quick. It was slow on the other end. It wasn't backed up here or frozen here or anything, so blew that out. All right, we got it all defrosted inside here. Everything's good. All the way front and back into here. You got to make sure you always get these side panels, because if you don't, the ice will come right back. Got all the way in here. Everything's good. So we're gonna assemble this guy, clean up our hoses, let it drip dry, and then go up onto the roof, start it up, and go through the operations. Got it all back together, and it is correct. There's only 2 heaters. There's one in the middle of the coil and then one on the bottom. You always want to inspect your limit switches. Make sure none of them are swollen or popped, because they'll do that. They'll freeze and expand. Don't see anything going on there. I currently turned the breaker back on, so the heaters are still running. We'll pop it out via the defrost termination when we go on the roof. All right, this guy's still on, so if we take the X terminal and touch it, it just clicked out of defrost, and the system will turn back on. Okay, so right now what's happening is the temperature controller, and there you go, it turned back on. So that X terminal is there. If it ever gets too warm, it terminates the defrost before the defrost is completed. Now I had disconnected that so that way I could run the heaters while I was getting everything ready. At this point I turned off power. We're going to connect the X terminal, then we're going to clean the condensers on these guys. So we want to start by pre-rinsing kind of in a downward angle to get the big chunks off. right? Get most of the grease so we're not pushing it into the coil. Now, I just recently cleaned this, so I don't think we're gonna have to take it apart, but we'll kind of evaluate it. I think I'm gonna be able to clean it just from the front, the surface, because like I said, a couple months ago, I ripped this thing into pieces and thoroughly cleaned it, so I doubt I'm gonna have to do that. And then the same thing, we'll do this one too. Turn off power and give it a rinse. This one's actually not even bad, so I don't even think I need chemical on this one. Yeah, it's coming right clean. I'll make sure that I can see through it. You always got to watch out too. I know the power of this sprayer, but whatever you use, you don't want it to go through because it goes right into that motor. All right, so this guy, see, oh yeah, we're coming right through. So yeah, we're gonna be good. I'm gonna put my coil gun right there. I got some blue venom pack. Be careful, you can't use this because this is the brightener cleaner. This will break down the grease. You cannot use this on micro channel coils. You only use it on tube and fin, and you've got to be careful still. All right, I put my cleaner on there. It's been sitting for a few minutes. We're gonna go ahead and give it the first rinse. Again, just being careful, but I don't think, like I said, that I'm gonna need to do anything more than just the surface. I'll make sure that I can see light clearly through these coils when I'm done. Sometimes if they're really, really bad, you gotta break them apart like I did the last time. I can't remember, I'm pretty sure I made a video of it. Oh yeah, coming through nice and clean. And here's the money shot. Look at that stuff coming out of there, man. This stuff works wonders. So it's all about big picture. You know, more than likely the problem was just the ice, but I don't want to ignore that. And I'm probably going to rinse off their ACs. I know it sucks that I'm here on overtime and it's frustrating, but I'm so busy right now I don't have time to come back. So probably going to go ahead and rinse down their ACs and knock that out too, so that way that doesn't become a service call next week. Because even on regular time, I don't have time. I'm so crazy busy right now. So we're going to give it a final rinse, and then we'll inspect it, make sure we can see light through it, and then turn it back on. And we can see daylight right through that condenser now. So we're good on that. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and fire it up and let it run for a little bit, and then we'll apply service gauges here in a bit. Let this guy bring the box down to temp for a while. It's amazing that this thing doesn't have high pressure code. It doesn't have any at all, but look at how plugged it is. It's insane. So we're gonna get some of the yellow venom pack cleaner on there. We'll probably have to do a couple coats. They put a coil coating on this, you know, for corrosion and stuff, and you're not really supposed to use chemicals on those, but if the customers aren't doing maintenances and they let the coils get this greasy, you have no other choice but to use coil cleaner. Now, of course, we're going to use the yellow venom pack, which is microchannel safe. So we'll knock that out real quick while this thing's coming down in temp. I'm not going to spend all day on this guy. It took an entire bottle, the Viper HD. I said venom pack, but I meant the Viper HD cleaner, which is the same thing as the yellow venom pack. It's just the venom pack's more concentrated. So, it takes multiple rinses. So like I said, I've done it like 3 or 4 times where you put this on and then you just got to let it sit for 10-15 minutes and then you got to rinse. And I mean, it's dramatically better than it was. It's still not perfect, but I'm also not going to spend all night here. You know, I just wanted to solve a problem, but you can see the stuff coming out right now. Every time you do a rinse, it breaks down more and more of the grease and the buildup. If this customer did a normal maintenance, you wouldn't have to do this kind of stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. So this is going to be my final rinse, and then we'll blow it off with my blower, and then we got to probe up on the walk-in freezer. All right, the pressures do not scare me. We're gonna go down and check the temperature of the evaporator, look at the frost pattern. We're running a clear sight glass. I'm not gonna go like full crazy on this thing. I don't have any temperature probes or anything. I'm not seeing anything scary here. Seems like it's gonna be okay, but like I said, we're gonna go down and look at the frost pattern downstairs, but I'm gonna assemble this all back together first. I also changed the defrost strategy and added multiple defrosts throughout the day. Now, this is a bit crazy, but with that door not shutting all the way, it's gonna have to defrost some more. So I went with some longer defrost, 45-minute defrost in the middle of the night. Mind you, it has a defrost termination. So it's only gonna defrost until the coil gets so warm. It probably won't even do the full 45. But then I put some 15 minutes throughout the day, and then just normally on these things we do 4 half-hour defrosts. So we went a little crazy on it. But again, once we fix the door hinges and get that door shutting, we can, you know, reduce the defrost strategy back to 4 a day. It's been running for a good hour or so. I just put my thermometer in here, but we have a nice even frost pattern, which is a really good sign. I'm not going to spend too much more time. I'll come and check on my thermometer in a few minutes. Like I said, I just put it in here. So we'll check on that in a few minutes. I'm going to go roll up my hoses, and we'll definitely be following up when we change the hinges. So that's not too bad, about 17 degrees. You can hear that bad fan blade. I'm gonna change all the fan blades. We're not gonna play around with this. Fan blades and fan brackets for sure. But okay, that's it for today. We're gonna come back, change the fan blades, and then change the hinges too. So, but that's it on this one. All right, we put new door hinges. So the door springs itself shut, does not stick anymore, which is a plus, okay? And we came back in and we replaced all the evaporator fan motors and fan blades, but we still have a little bit of ice. So I have it in a defrost right now. We're gonna defrost that with the water hose the rest of the way and dive into this a little bit deeper now that we have some more time and we're not on overtime. So I had thrown it into a defrost and then we went to a lunch. So there's just a little bit of ice, but it's going through to the other side too. So that's why we are using our nozzle. We're gonna clear it out real quick, and then we'll troubleshoot a little bit more. All right, this is very annoying. So we got to defrost it, okay? Put it all back together, and we come up into here, and top heater is not working now. We've had 2 people check this heater, myself included, and it's been working. But all of a sudden, it's not working. I don't know if it's just a fluke or what, but I looked, I confirmed we have voltage. The bottom heater's working 5 amps. So you know it's working when you test current across it. It's just a heat strip. So they're all connected to the same place, and I checked from H2 to 3 and we have voltage. Let's do it again. So it's not clicking out on a limit switch or anything like that. Annoying, man. H2 3 201 volts. So we've got voltage, but no current. Dang it. This is a frustrating one. I have changed that heater before too. This restaurant is notorious for icing it up, but it's really interesting because it was working. Like I said, 2 people have de-iced this thing, and both of us have checked it and all the heaters are working, and I know I was one of them. And I know that I saw it, and my apprentice was the other person, and he saw it too. Wow, that's crazy. All right, so the system's running. Everything looks good in here. Yeah, we got a little frosting up, but it's even. It looks fine. I don't have any issues with that. We come into here. We're looking good. It's a pretty even frost pattern. Don't see any issues here. And my numbers look good on Measure Quick too, and I'll pull that up. Man, this one is beyond frustrating. It's one of those things. So I'm gonna take all my probes off of this. I don't like how that expansion valve was feeding, but I did make some superheat adjustments, but I need to be careful because the box is still coming down in temp. Typically you don't want to adjust it till it's within, I like to say, 10 degrees of set point. We're still really high, so I adjusted it down to about what, 12 degrees superheat, and I'm not going to go any lower than that. We're going to pull the probes off. We're going to talk to the customer. This thing's a mess. I mean, yeah, it's just an absolute mess. The electrical looks like crap. Frustrating. Yeah, so we're going to talk to the customer. I would really like them to let me change the evaporator coil complete. I just hate to say that because we just put new fan motors and fan blades on it, but I think that's going to be the best bet, because changing that heater is a nightmare. You got to slide it out from the side, and you can't get to it because the wall's there. It's a pain in the butt. I've actually changed that exact heater on that coil once before. They ice this box up so much. It's a nightmare.
So not only was it a frustrating call because, you know, the manager waited 2 days or whatever it was. I think it's been longer than 2 days. On top of that, you saw 2 different trips here. Now, we were actually there 3 times in between both of my video clips, because I sent someone else out there to defrost it once too. I've already talked to the customer, and they're ordering a new evaporator coil because I just told them it just needs to be changed. Changing out that defrost heater. The defrost heater is what, 3.5 feet, 4 feet long, and you have about 12 inches of space on the side of that evaporator coil, and the defrost heater slides completely into that evaporator coil. So in order to get that defrost heater in, which I mentioned in the video I've changed before, you have to bend it, and it's just a strip heater, mind you, okay? There's just a filament running through that thing, and you have to bend it, and it's sketch when you do it. So I told the customer, look, this is the second time the defrost heaters have gone bad on this thing. And on top of that, I wasn't too happy with the frost pattern. Now, I didn't get it caught on film, but when it was first pulling down, it was fine. But as it ran longer and longer, man, my superheat just wasn't dropping very well. I adjusted it, I think I said to about 12 degrees. I didn't see the box down at negative 10, which is our normal operating. I think the lowest I saw it was like 10 degrees or something, but you want to be very careful about adjusting superheat when you're still high in temp, by the way, too, because you can adjust it really low when it's pulling down, but then it'll way overshoot once it gets closer to being set point. So be very cautious about that. But anyways, I did talk the customer into replacing the entire evaporator. We haven't received it yet. Of course, with all these equipment shortages and everything, it's taking forever to get parts. So I've actually got 2 restaurants that we're having to do this exact same thing at, not because of defrost heaters, but I have another coil that needs to be replaced. And I'm just sending technicians out there proactively. Every week we send someone out there to try to get ahead of the emergency Saturday service call. Look, even if I'm not on call, I don't want my guys to have to go out there constantly on Saturdays and stuff. So that's why we're trying to prevent this. And the customer is ecstatic that we're on top of everything and trying to prevent the service calls. Like they're okay with it costing them money. Like they just want it working properly. So, with these customers too, another thing we have to remember, they're struggling. Okay. They're having a hard time finding employees. The day that I was here, they only had 1 cook working in their kitchen that they normally have 5 cooks, okay, because they had 4 people call off. And this is a thing happening at all the restaurants all over the place. Like the cooks can't keep the cooks. The cooks all bounce and go work at fast food, because they're getting paid, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is, but I just know that they just keep losing cooks. What cooks actually have come back to work, right? Because you still probably have some that are on unemployment and stuff. But it's a struggle. And with that being said, the restaurants are struggling. They're doing everything they can, but this kind of stuff happens, the ball gets dropped. They're not doing line checks where they go and check temperatures on a regular basis. So when they do call us, they're like, I got 3 reach-ins down and they're all iced up and I need you here now. It's happening like that. And I'm not going to say it's necessarily because the restaurants are cheap. Okay. They're just struggling right now and they're doing everything they can. It's hard enough to be in business in general in California with all the craziness that we have to go through politically and everything. But then on top of that, you add all this crazy, pandemic stuff. And it's frustrating. So yes, I am still frustrated with the restaurants, but at the same time, I kind of understand a little bit as to what's going on, and we just do our best. And again, it wouldn't be worth it for me to lose my cool and go off on a manager. While I might get a momentary, sorry, my phone ringing there for a sec, but I might get a momentary, bit of satisfaction from it. But, losing a customer because I lost my temper is not a cool thing, right? So you have to remember to bite your tongue, do what's right, just get it fixed, give them an invoice that's ridiculously big, even though it doesn't matter. It seems like every time you make those invoices really big, it still doesn't doesn't help, because you're still frustrated, you know, that you had to ruin your dinner or whatever it is to go out there. But it is what it is, guys. So hopefully when and if we get that evaporator, we'll get some footage putting that in. But it's so important on these things too, to always double check. It's such a trip that heater failed, right? Because I saw it on video. I had video footage that it was working, and then all of a sudden it's not, you know. And it's like, we've seen it 3 times. We've gone in there and tested current on that heater, and it's been working fine. But then all of a sudden, this one time it wasn't, and it's like, what the heck is going on? You know, it's just really frustrating. So, like I said, we're going to change out the whole coil. You know, the condensing unit on the roof should be good. I'm going to fix all that electrical at that condensing unit too. All those stupid wires running through there. We're going to fix all that and make it look half-ass decent. So, I really appreciate you guys making it to the end and listening to my rambling and babbling. Remember, if you guys have any interest in supporting the channel, there's a couple different ways to do so. The easiest way to support the channel is simply watch the videos from beginning to end without skipping through anything. That's the simplest way, okay? The next way is, if you're interested in purchasing any tools, you can go to truetechtools.com. You can use my offer code BIGPICTURE. At this current time, it is August 11th of 2021. You get an 8% discount by using my offer code BIGPICTURE. It may change in the future, but right now that's what it is. If you guys know what tools it is that you're interested in purchasing, shoot me over an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com and let me know which ones, and I can generate an affiliate link. You still get to use the 8% offer code. I just get a little bit more of a commission that way. You can also support the channel via Patreon. You can become a Patreon patron. That's a monthly commitment, basically, that you commit to, you know, whatever amount you decide you want to do. You donate to the channel, essentially. You can also do YouTube channel memberships, which is just like Patreon. You can donate via PayPal. You know, when I do live streams, you can donate via super chats and stuff. You can also go to my website, hvacrvideos.com. I have a merchandise store. We have hats, beanies, sweaters, hoodies, all that stuff on there, so you guys can purchase that. That helps to support the channel. But again, even if you guys don't support it, I'm still going to keep making these videos. So thank you guys so very much. I really, really appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one, okay?